Hi, this is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group, coming to you with agent training number 2, setting up your real estate business. Now, I cannot stress this enough that you have to look at this as a business, not a job. Typically, on a job, you're going to go in and you're going to do what you're told. You're going to do it on a part time basis. You're going to have typically a limited perspective in terms of what's the expectations of you and what you should be doing, etc. You can't do that with real estate. This is a business. This is your business. And you will find that as you're in real estate that there are some great tax advantages that you have because you're in business. But there's also one very overlapping factor for the business person. There is no limit to how much money you can make. There's no cap. If you've got a job and they give you an hourly wage, they're going to typically give you a certain number of hours. And so your wages are capped no matter how much you make and no matter how many hours you work, because you're paid on the hour, by the hour. Now, yeah, there may be overtime, etc., but by and large, your wages are capped. In real estate, it's not like that. You can go out there and do as many deals and transactions as you can handle. You can make as much money as you want, because that's what business people do. Business people generate income limitlessly, without limit. Now, since you're not an employee, you're going to have expenses. Virtually everything you do related to this business is an expense. From maintaining your car, buying gas, your insurance, the clothes you need to wear, the courses you need to take, the business cards, the signs, everything. It's all an expense. So when you think of it as a business, you realize that in order for you to be profitable, your income has to exceed your expenses. And typically, when you first start, it's not like that. Your expenses are exceeding your income because money's going out and none's coming in, which is why we want to make sure that you have every advantage as an agent to go out there and to hit the ground running so that you can pull transactions together. Now, let me say this to you. I've sold insurance and other things in the past, and real estate typically has one of the longest periods of time before you actually see money from it. You can sell an insurance policy and get paid within a week. It's very, very hard to get paid in a week in real estate. You're looking typically at a month or two, and that's if you know what you're doing. The average agent who just gets out here and does this willy-nilly will go months with no money. And many times they will give up on the business because they're not generating any income. So you want to set it up as a business. You want to think of it as a business. And one of the first things to think about is you got to control your expenses. You have to make sure that you have enough money to live, meaning you got to be able to eat and have a place, a roof over your head. You've got to be able to take care of your basic needs, not your desires, but your basic needs. Now, this may be that maybe you're married and your spouse is working. So while you're in the real estate building phase, you use some discretion. Maybe you've got some money saved up. Again, use discretion. You have to make sure that you can survive first, because if you can't survive, you will not build the business. If you don't have anything, if you're going into this and you're totally and absolutely broke, you're not going to make it in this business. You have to be able to sustain yourself until revenue, profit, income comes your way. So, here's some must-dos to keep in mind. Number one, keep track of all of the expenses that you're spending in real estate. My suggestion is that you use one account, maybe you use one credit card to cover these expenses, because at tax time, that's going to be very important. You don't want to have your expenses all over the place, and at the end of the year, you're trying to figure out where they are and pull it together. You want to centralize your expenses. So if you have an account, like most people have a personal checking account, you should set up an account for your business. Even if it's just a separate checking account in your name. I'm not necessarily saying you have to incorporate or anything at this point, but just a separate checking account, separate debit card, and one credit card so that you can cover the expenses. You want an account where your commissions can come in, you can pay your expenses, and then you can take money from that account and pay yourself. That's the ideal way to begin to set it up. So again, all business related expenses are tax deductible. You want to keep records of everything. Now, in the days gone by, we would have ledger books, or we'd write down things, have a bunch of notes. Now you might use your phone, and you have a note section on your phone where you can just keep track of things. When you're on a business luncheon, you want to get a receipt if possible, or use a card where you will have evidence that you actually spent the money. But bottom line is you want to keep a record of every expense, which is why in business, try not to use cash for anything, because cash is hard to track. When you're sitting down with your accountant and you're trying to put your taxes together, you can't track cash you spent 6 months ago. But you can track receipts, and you can definitely track statements. So if you're using a debit card, using a credit card, you've got a paper trail, and that's the accounting way to look at things. You always want to have a paper trail when it comes to expenses. It works with income too, of course, but you definitely need to have it with expenses. So again, you want to set up certain accounts for your business. You want to have at least one. I typically would tell people to have a checking account because of the debit card feature, and the fact that if you need to write a check, which we're getting away from checks, more and more, but if you needed to write a check, you'd have an account to be able to do that. In real estate, there's a word called commingle, which is where you take personal money and business money and put it together. You don't want to do that. And even as you're setting up your business, don't mix your personal and your business together, because you're going to have a hard time separating. Again, separation is the key as you're setting up your real estate business. You need to have an account, a debit card you use for your real estate business, or a credit card that you use for your real estate business, a checking account where you write checks for your business expenses. Separation is key. Keep the money separate. I don't know how you do your taxes. Hopefully you'll make so much money that you'll have to have somebody to do them. But if you do use an accountant or a CPA, kind of let them know what you're looking to do. They'll typically give you some suggestions and ideas of how to structure things so that, at the end of the year or when you're ready to file taxes, everything is in place. Another thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have the supplies. Keep an ample supply of business cards, because you want to give these cards out whenever necessary. Maybe you meet somebody and you have a conversation and you give them your card. Your card is your first way of marketing yourself. And real estate is all about the market. You want people to know that you're in real estate. You want them to know what you do. You want them to have a way to get in touch with you. So you use your business card to accomplish that goal. You're going to have to invest in signs, because as you are listing properties, which hopefully will be something you will definitely want to do, you want to be able to put that sign out there so that people can call it. Typically, there are 3 ways that people find property today. About 80-85% of the public is using one of these 3 or a combination of these 3 ways. You have buyers that work with realtors who are showing them properties. You have buyers that are going to go online and they're going to look at sites like Realtor.com, Zillow, etc. So they're going to find properties online. And as buyers are driving around, they're going to see for sale signs. And many times if they're driving through the neighborhood, the houses that I've bought for places that I wanted to live, I've always driven the neighborhoods to get an idea of what it's like in the mornings, the afternoons, the evenings, make sure I want to be there. And if I saw a sign that had for sale on it, I always wrote down the number and called and got information. Even if I didn't buy the house, I wanted to know what other houses in the area were selling for. So you want to have invest in signs. You want to have a cell phone, which everybody has a cell phone now. You want to adjust your message if you're using your cell phone, which you will be. And basically just says, hey, this is Jeff Davis with the Davis Group Real Estate Team, yada, yada, yada. You want to be able to communicate with people. And so your phone becomes your tool. It's one of your greatest tools. Now, the good thing is that our phones are like mini computers. They do so many different things. And I'm not here to tell you you should have an Apple phone or an Android. I mean, you've got to get what works for you. But I will say to you that because of all the apps that are available and the many things that phones can do, you want to make sure you have a good phone. Invest in a phone, a quality phone, because you're going to use it a lot. We haven't got to the office side of it yet, but for the most part, most agents now, you're going to work out of your house, you're going to be working out of your car, you're going to be mobile. So your phone's going to be one of the most important tools in your chest. So you want to make sure that it's a good phone, that it can do the things you need it to do when you need them done. Of course, you want to have internet access on your phone. That goes without saying. Everybody has internet access on the phone. You're going to need to be able to access the internet as well when you're out and about and you're doing your job. You should also have a good tablet or laptop so that when you do go out and see people and you're talking to people and working either with buyers or working with sellers, that you have some way to access the internet outside of your phone. Because sometimes you're going to put contracts together. You're going to meet with people, they're going to like it, and you're going to be ready to go. So you want to have the tools. You want to have the tools. Laptop, iPad, phone. And again, it depends on your preference. Some people like the laptop better. Others like iPads. It's okay because they both can do the same things in many ways. Establish a business email. You can do a simple Gmail, Yahoo account, and just have an email that you're going to use specifically for your business. You don't, again, just like you don't want to mix your personal money with your business money, you don't want to have your personal email to be used for business. I've seen people with emails like, hotsistertina@gmail.com. Okay, that might be cool for your friends and in your social circles, but you cannot use that email for business. You want to have a certain air of professionalism. So you might say, Jeff Davis, real estate agent, or Jeff the realtor at Yahoo or Gmail or whatever. You just want to set up a business email that you can put on your business card and that you can give to people so that when you go into your phone and you're checking your email, you're checking your business email. If you're using it strictly for business, then you'll be getting responses related to business. Now, here in California, dress is important. I'm from the Midwest, and so, it was a lot colder many months than it is here. And so wearing suits and ties was the norm. You'd be dressed up. But here in California, it's a little bit different. Sometimes it's extremely hot. I'm going to suggest that you adopt the business casual look, meaning you don't necessarily have to have a necktie on every time. But don't go on appointments with buyers or sellers in tore up jeans and raggedy gym shoes and holey shirts. Business casual. You want to look like someone who makes money. So you can go to the stores, and if you don't know what it means to be business casual, but it's basically clothes that you would wear outside of wearing a suit or a dress. You want to be modest in your apparel. Ladies, you don't want to have on halters and tank tops and, walking around with everything showing, because you're a professional. Even though you may know very little about real estate, or even though you may not be making a lot of money right now, you want to look like somebody that knows what it's like to make money. So you want to dress professionally, and the correct term, again, we use is business casual. Keep your eyes open for ways to promote your business. Free ways. Things that you can do free. There'll always be ways to spend money. in the real estate business, but you want to look for ways to promote it freely. Maybe there's some event going on and someone allows you to be able to portray yourself and tell what you do in exchange for you doing something. Like maybe you're going to talk to, you're going to go someplace and put on a free seminar on first time home buyers. And in return, you get to do flyers. Any way that you can promote yourself and not have to spend the advertising money. You may have to spend money making the material, but don't have to spend it advertising. Works out good for you. Make sure that when you talk to people that you are professional. Don't use profanity. Don't curse every other word. Don't swear. Don't get political. Don't make it about your opinion and what you think. That's not what professional people do. You have to carry yourself in such a way that people see that you are about the business. You are about real estate. You're about helping people reach their goals when it comes to housing. Do not act like this is where you're out with your buddies and you're having a drink and you're just talking. Don't do that when you're working. You want to study your presentation. Study your listing presentation. Study your spiel, your script for buyers. I truly believe that if you will learn how to use a presentation to move you to that next level, to help people follow along with you, this is extremely important when it comes to listing property. You want the seller to follow along with you as you're pulling things together. Well, if that's the case, don't fudge it. Don't fake it. Be there, be ready, hone your skills. Finally, read up on real estate. Learn your profession. There are many, many books on real estate that can help you to learn how to be a better agent. The more versed you are in how this works, the better the chances are you'll make money doing it. And that's the goal, to have a profitable business that's fun to run.